Шановні пані та панове, вітаю.
Dear guests, welcome at Ukraine Crisis Media Center. Now we will have signing and presentation of the Declaration of Civil Society in support of the reformed state defense. Our guest Yemchura, analyst of the Independent Anti-Corruption Committee on Defense, Mykhailo Samus, Deputy Director of the Center for Army Conversion and Disarmament, Olena Tregub, and the Secretary General of the Independent Defense Anti-Corruption Committee, and Oleksandr Yasinsky, Director of the Legal Defense Companies of Ukraine Association. So we had the opportunity to meet with the new Secretary of the National Defense and Security Council, Mr. Daniluk. You know that now we have reloading in Ukraine, and the topic of corruption in defense is really acute. We removed Svenarchuk, and also we would like to overcome the challenges of the previous leadership, and the process of transparency is ongoing, and the minimization of corruption in the state defense order is really important. And we had Svenarchukization before, and no one could join the process, and we had presidential office that closed the process for society and for the government. And also the committee headed by Pashinsky didn't meet to discuss anti-corruption matters with NATO and the world. And my colleague said about it, the representative of the USA, he said that the country that is in war the military forces are involved in different conflicts throughout the world. So the level of secrecy of the state defense order is about 10 or 20%. In comparison, we have 80% of information about state procurement, and because behind this procurement remain corruption and disinformation enclosed for transparency and international and public control. That's why this is a priority for the new Secretary of the National Defense and Security Council head. So we should use this moment in order to strengthen public request and bring attention to this process. So we had presidential elections, and now we will have maybe early parliamentary elections, power changes, and we should stay focused. And now, while we are speaking, some blocks are being formed concerning state order people who earned from this. During many years, they are in active process. That's why we hope that today's event will help new leadership, new Supreme Council, to be more serious about hidden corruption or even just corruption that stays behind the secrecy in the sphere of state defense order. That's why I would like to greet everyone with this declaration that it was discussed yesterday at the reanimation package of reforms meeting. We discussed these matters with some organizations, and these were the parties of the declaration, and the Independent Defense Anti-Corruption Committee will continue its work, and we will focus on the most important things, and by joint effort we will try to prevent corruption schemes to shift to the new epoch. As we remember, we live in an epoch when there is no where there is no place for corruption. I'm Taras Yemchura. I am the analyst on defense issues, and I would like to speak about this declaration. So, for 6 months, we studied corruption risks in defense sector. We revealed 17 gaps and developed a number of recommendations, and in order to prioritize them somehow after consultations with our partners who are signing this declaration, we chose 3 areas. First, the increase of the level of transparency by open procurement, and the second goal, when the secret procurement is needed, there should be competitive procedure. This procedure existed until 2012, and we should bring this procedure back, and there should be competitiveness. There should be a dialogue between the producers. Also, equal access for producers to state defense order. This process is complicated. Those who are outside the club of chosen, this is the register of the producers for the state defense order. It is difficult to get access. We believe there should be equal access of different companies to state defense order. It is really pleasant that many serious organizations joined. These are the Association of Ukrainian Security Production, and Yevhen Krupa is with us today. The League of Military Enterprises. It unites the producers of military equipment. Oleksandr Yasinsky, General Director, is here with the Center of Conversion and Disarmament. Representative Mykhailo Samus is the representative state watch organization that studies corruption in military sector. Dniprovsky airspace cluster, I see the representative here, Yevhen Rakitsky, Maidan Foreign Affairs. They also deal with defense issues and study them at a professional level. American and Ukrainian Business Council, and also we were joined by media platform of the Ministry of Defense, Army Inform. I hope that these organizations will be able to consolidate their effort in order to work not only on declaration but also on the products, because there is a request from the Secretary of the Security and Defense Council's Secretary. So we will work together in order to reform the sector. I give the floor to Mykhailo Samus. Good afternoon. I'm glad to be here at the ceremony of signing of declaration. Thank you for inviting me. For our center that deals with this issue for 20 years, we support the development of Ukrainian defense industry. This declaration is the new attempt in the new conditions to invite civil society and Ukrainian politicians and expert community and power to focus attention on the defense sector and state defense order. State defense order is one of the most pressing problems in the defense sphere. Why we are going to sign this declaration? We support the research of NATO and efforts made by NATO. We say that our defense sector needs comprehensive reform. If we reform only state defense order, it won't be much. So the system my colleagues mentioned, it was created in times of Yanukovych, and unfortunately, during 5 years of war, it didn't change. We say that this is an ideal ecosystem for corruption. It is completely closed. in the office of the president, at the parliament, and in Ukroboronprom, and the government fell out of the system somehow, and this allows corrupt individuals not only to earn, but we should remember that defense industry is the most important for security of the state. When they steal in army, in military production and state defense order, this harms Ukrainian security, and our center call on you not to stop at this declaration. As I understand, if we just sign this declaration and publish it, nothing will change. Of course, if it remains only a declaration, there won't be any practical steps. That's why I ask everyone, experts, journalists, and representatives of the new administration, we should completely reload Ukrainian defense industry. It should become efficient in order to carry out tasks to protect Ukrainian state. It should become open and transparent in order to prevent corruption. And this system, it may be a driver of highly developed technologies in the state. Why? I will explain. Now we have the opportunity to have a transparent, free procedure without bureaucracy. We believe that a central body of executive power should be created. It should have responsibilities to establish equal rules for everyone, whether these are Ukrainian or American, some foreign investors, and there should be proper investment into technology and science. Technoparks should be developed, but the government removed itself from the process, and we believe that there should be a new system. The government should not earn from it and do some commercial activity like they do it in Ukroboronprom. This is a hybrid structure that do business and at the same time is not responsible for anything. The government should be responsible for the policy in the area and create equal rules for all. And this declaration is important. This is the first step on the long way. And this way will not be easy. The way to create efficient defense industry, and this will help us to improve and to develop high technology in Ukraine. I would like to remind you that state defense order is only an instrument. The end goal of any reform is to build powerful defense sector. That's why I would like to give the floor General Director of the League of Defense Enterprises, Mr. Yasinsky, please. Thank you very much. I do not hear him.
Sorry.
The League of Defense Enterprises comprises about 60 private defense enterprises that actively participate in the state defense order. Two figures, at least, today. According to the results of the last year, 60%, approximately 60%, of state order was done by private enterprises. This was in 2018, and before it was 40 or 50%. So you see the dynamics. There are good prospects. During war times, about 200 units of military equipment were put in inventory in the armed forces. These were created by private enterprises. They were developed and produced by private enterprises. Also produced and provided were by state enterprises, nearly the same number. But private enterprises are important for the sector, and we know that in the law on national security, defense and production sector is one of the main for the security of the country. That's why the issues we consider today are really important for defense capability and security. I would like to thank an independent defense anti-corruption committee for their work and for their joint efforts that they, together with us, covered those problems that exist in defense sector. And Mykhailo Samus said it correctly, the issues included in declaration is just a small part of the problems we have to solve. And today, in conditions of reloading, there are conditions for the reloading of power, and by joint efforts, we believe we will be able to find the ways to resolve the problems that exist in the defense industry and bring these issues for consideration of top officials. Thank you. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Krupa, Ukrainian defense and security industry. Good afternoon. Our association was created in 2015, and it was not international because Warsaw Agreement countries, they were pioneers, those who helped to shift the production to private hands, and we provided these recommendations to the committee, and the experience was taken into account. Now these countries successfully developed. That's why all those proposals, we support them. Our enterprise support these proposals, and I will be glad if we will work in this direction. So if in the hall we have someone else who wants to speak, those who signed this declaration, please, you may do it. If you want to do this, please. Thank you. I'm co-chair of this enterprise, and I had the Dnipro space cluster, and with great enthusiasm we support the proposal. And NACO worked on this proposal for a long time concerning reform of the state defense order. As it was said before, we consider it as one brick, one cornerstone in the building of dynamic, innovative Ukrainian economy, because reform of defense complex, these are further steps, and there should be legislative work to change normative basis. So NACO studied the schemes, and other researchers studied it to reveal inefficient mechanisms, and there should be clear proposals to executive bodies, to legislators. I would like to say that expert community has been working starting 2015 and 2016 and 2017. And in 2017, we had some proposals concerning laws, draft laws concerning reform of the defense sector. And today, it is time to get united around the roadmap and to draft laws. And yesterday, during evening's event that was organized by you, this idea was expressed to create an informal coalition that would unite a number of stakeholders from private sector, from institutes of civil society, and today at the stage of formation of parliament, at the stage of formation of the agenda of the National Defense and Security Council and agenda of administration of the president, we should clearly formulate our proposals. We already have them, and we should work with the stakeholders because we have several months to start efficient work. And defense sector have several years, otherwise export would reach zero, because we have a decrease in the sector, and we would lose these opportunities that we still have now otherwise. So do you have some comments? Would you like to add something? Thank you. Now I give the floor to Olena Tregub, and she is Secretary General of the Independent Defense Anti-Corruption Committee. First, I would like to note that today we witnessed that in Ukraine, real civil control over defense sector starts. Previously we had it formally, but now in 2019, civil society was able to make some real steps and to provide some recommendations to our power in order to reform the sector, in order to make it more accountable, more transparent, non-corrupt, in order that it works for the benefit of our society, for our country. And this is really positive. And the law was adopted on national security last summer. And USA, EU, and NATO, they insisted on this law, adoption of this law, and a big role is given to civil society in democratic countries and NATO nations. It is normal that citizens insist that they should know where their taxes go to. So there shouldn't be a secret about it. Not ask us why we bought this tank, for example, or why some spare parts to the tank exceed the market price 7 times, for example. I hope that 2019 is the last year when we are speaking about making state defense order to make it open. We hope that it will be transparent. And during Poroshenko presidency, we saw that there is this state secret, and Minister Palastarak said that 10% should be secret, and some people said that 5% should be secret, and orders were adopted, and strategic defense bulletin was adopted, and the terms for implementation were established. But on the 19th of June 2019, everything remains the same, nothing changed. Political will was absent, and now with the change of power, president and parliament, we hope that this will appear. And I would like to remind to you that after corruption scandal that Oleg mentioned, Yevhen Gate, there was a meeting of the National Defense and Security Council on the 6th of March. So some decisions concerning secrecy were adopted, and about audit of Ukrbоронпром and other reforms we are speaking about today. But this decision of the Council that was introduced into force on the 15th of March by order of the President, it was not implemented. These tasks should have been implemented in 1 month, but they were not implemented. So we faced the situation that the new power inherited all this from the previous power. And now this is a window of opportunities for us. And we present our recommendations to decision makers. If they have political will, if they are honest, we hope that this is the last year when we are speaking about the Soviet heritage and heritage of Yanukovych, when our sector is not competitive and our state defense order does not provide us with opportunity to protect our country or to develop our military-industrial complex. We thank all civil society activists and all other parties. We understand that this is a complex task, but we believe that there should be changes and real achievements. We hope that these achievements will be soon. So we won't take much of your time. Thank you.